Hello and welcome. Christmas is just around the corner, and today we're stepping back in time to explore how two iconic writers, the Brontës and Charles Dickens, influenced the festive traditions we know and love. From snowy Victorian landscapes to themes of family and generosity, there's so much to uncover. So grab a cosy drink, settle in, and let's dive into a Victorian Christmas filled with charm and nostalgia. When we think of Christmas, what comes to mind? Well, snow gently falling, families gathering around a table, turkey roasting in the oven, and of course, Mr. Dickens. His A Christmas Carol was published in December 1843, when the Brontës were in their 20s, and it has shaped how we see Christmas today, often with snow, generosity, and a focus on family. But did you know that many of the Christmas traditions we associate with the Victorian era were, in part, popularised by Mr. Dickens himself? He is credited for bringing back the emphasis on family Christmas feasts, charity, and the snow festive scenes that have now become iconic during the holiday season. Mr. Dickens' A Christmas Carol played a massive role in reviving the spirit of Christmas during a time when the holiday had been somewhat overshadowed by industrialisation. But what about the Bronte sisters? Charlotte, Emily and Anne, known for their Victorian literature that explores isolation, passion and deep emotional struggles, had their own unique relationship with Mr. Dickens' Christmas legacy. Though they were living in the remote Yorkshire moors, far removed from the literary circles of London, they were keenly aware of Mr. Dickens, who had captured the hearts of the nation. Even without meeting him in person, their views on Mr. Dickens and his works can be pieced together through letters and their reading habits. It's fascinating to explore how Mr. Dickens' Christmas spirit might have aligned with their own thoughts on morality, family, and the struggles between selfishness and generosity, themes central to both Victorian literature and the traditions we associate with Christmas today. So let's start with Charlotte Brontë. She was undoubtedly one of Mr. Dickens's contemporaries, and although we don't have a direct record of her thoughts on A Christmas Carol, she was quite familiar with Mr. Dickens's work. In a letter to a publisher, she mentioned Mr. Dickens in passing, acknowledging his brilliance but also noting her preferences for other writers like Thackeray. Still, she had a deep respect for Mr. Dickens' skills and storytelling. She says, "You say that people are not to compare Mr. Dickens and Thackeray. True, they are not, but they will do it. Mr. Dickens seems to be like a brilliant, handsome, superficial and false angel, and Thackeray like a homely, shrewd and faithful man." While Charlotte admired Mr. Dickens' talent, her focus was always on depth. Psychological and emotional realism, qualities she valued in writers like Thackeray. But despite her more critical stance on his style, Charlotte did acknowledge Mr. Dickens' significant impact. She also praised David Copperfield, demonstrating her ability to appreciate his talent for creating complex, memorable characters. Now, what about the Brontes? Well, while their Christmases and Hours were certainly quieter and more restrained than the ones of Mr. Dickens described, it's possible they still shared some of the same values that Mr. Dickens emphasised in A Christmas Carol. The importance of family, compassion and moral reflection. While we don't know for certain if the Brontes ever read A Christmas Carol in its entirety, we do know that Charlotte, Emily and Anne were all avid readers. And they were certainly aware of the world beyond their remote Yorkshire home. I mean, Charlotte, for example, she wrote in a letter about Mr. Dickens's David Copperfield to her dear friend Ellen Nussey, saying it was very good, and even comparing it to Jane Eyre in some respects. It said, "I have read David Copperfield, and it seems to me very good, admirable in some part. You say it has affinity to Jane Eyre. It has, now and then, only what an advantage Mr. Dickens in his varied knowledge of men and things." Charlotte's recognition of Mr. Dickens' varied knowledge of men and things shows that she appreciated his exploration of human nature, even if she found his style not always to her taste. Christmases at the parsonage were likely much simpler, yet it's interesting to think about how Mr. Dickens' themes of redemption, family and charity might have resonated with the Brontes, even if their own experience of writing was more about isolation and struggles. Mr. Dickens had an incredible impact on Christmas. Before A Christmas Carol, Christmas in Britain wasn't this sort of grand celebration we know today. The holiday had become more of a sort of a commercial affair, overshadowed by demands of industrialisation. But Mr. Dickens' story revived the importance of family generosity and that spirit of Christmas. Mr. Dickens' A Christmas Carol introduces several elements that we associate with a traditional Christmas. Everything from snow-covered streets to the joy of giving. He was instrumental in shaping the Christmases we think of today. In fact, it's often said that Mr. Dickens is responsible for popularising the very idea of a white Christmas. The snow, picturesque scenes that we now hold dear. The image of snowy Christmas Eve, the cold biting in the air and that family huddled together inside is almost entirely due to Mr. Dickens. Before A Christmas Carol, a snow at Christmas wasn't really a tradition. Mr. Dickens romanticised snow as part of a festive landscape, and his work is largely credited with cementing snow as a symbol of traditional Christmas. So when we see those beautiful frosty Christmas cards or we watch a film set in the snow, we're actually seeing Mr. Dickens's vision of Christmas in action. Whilst working on this video, I felt inspired to read A Christmas Carol again, but I couldn't find my copy anywhere. Then, as if by some strange coincidence, I went to my book club and the book handed out to us was none other than A Christmas Carol. It's like a Christmas miracle. I'll show you today's mug. We have a farmyard mug with cows. There's a rabbit there, pigs, and more cows and more rabbits. And inside it says, "Bright new morning." And a nice cup of tea. And it's even better when you sat beside a fire. There's something about tea next to a fire. It's lovely. So, thank you for all your tea updates, by the way, from the other day about who drinks what tea. It was brilliant. I had so many things I've never even heard of before. But it was, it was great. And I think I might have to try one or two. I might wait till after Christmas. While Charlotte Brontë and Mr. Dickens didn't have a close personal relationship, they did share some mutual connections, one of the most important being the writer Elizabeth Gaskell. Mrs. Gaskell, best known for Cranford and her biography of Charlotte Brontë, friends with both authors and served as a kind of literary bridge between them. Elizabeth Gaskell was a close friend of Charlotte, and she admired the Brontë sisters' work. She even wrote Charlotte's biography after her death in 1855, which provided much of the public's understanding of Charlotte's life and personality. But Mrs. Gaskell also had a friendship with Mr. Dickens. It's likely that their shared friendship helped introduce the two literary giants to each other's work. In one of Mrs. Gaskell's letters to Charlotte, she mentioned Mr. Dickens in a context that showed the respect she had for him, writing, "Mr. Dickens, of course, is the brightest star in our literary firmament, but you, dear Miss Bronte, have your own distinctive brilliance." Mrs. Gaskell's recognition of both authors highlight how, despite their different literature styles, they were both considered key figures in the literary world of their time. And it's fascinating to think about how Mrs. Gaskell, as a close friend of Charlotte, likely known of her thoughts on Mr. Dickens. Mrs. Gaskell and Mr. Dickens were also collaborators. Mrs. Gaskell wrote a short story for Mr. Dickens's Household Word magazine, and Mr. Dickens praised her talent in return. Their mutual admiration for each other's work shows that both authors respected each other, even if their own tastes sometimes differed. Through Mrs. Gaskell, both Charlotte and Mr. Dickens were part of a larger literary circle that helped shape the Victorian literary landscape. Though there's no evidence they ever met in person, their connection via mutual friend gives us that glimpse of how intertwined the lives of these iconic writers were, even if only through admiration and correspondences. Although Charlotte Brontë and Charles Dickens never met, Mr. Dickens was certainly aware of her work. When Charlotte passed away in March 1855, Mr. Dickens expressed his sorrow in a letter to his close friend and associate W.H. Wills, who worked with him on Household Words. He said, "I have just heard of the death of poor Miss Brontë. She was a great and original writer and has left a legacy of wonderful books behind her. It is very sad that she had gone so soon, and I am sorry to hear that her last hours were so distressed." In his letter, Mr. Dickens acknowledges Charlotte's greatness as a writer and expresses genuine sadness of her death, showing the respect he had for the work, even though they'd never met. In the end, Mr. Dickens and the Brontes had very different relationships to Christmas and each other's work, but they shared a common commitment to exploring human nature, morality, and the complexities of the human spirit. Mr. Dickens's A Christmas Carol might not have been something the Brontes explicitly embraced, but the theme of redemption, generosity, and family was certainly present in their own work, albeit with a different tone. Through their writing, the Brontë sisters and Mr. Dickens continues to shape how we understand Christmas, even today. So the next time you read A Christmas Carol or reflect on a Brontë novel, take a moment to think about how these two literary giants helped to craft the Christmases we know and love today. While Charlotte Brontë and Mr. Dickens? Who's Mr. Dickens? That sounds like a character from a Dickens book, doesn't it? Mr. Dickens, come in here, Mr. Dickens. Right, try again. Mr. Dickens, of course, is the brightest star in our literary firmament. Mr. Dickens, come on, you can do this. Just say it quickly. Can we say this? Should we try and say this again? It's worse with these quotes because I've got to get them really right. always worse when I have to do a quote from a letter, because they have to be exactly right. And I can't just add in my ums and my so's and my whats, and I get all like rabbit in headlights thing. Right, let's try again. Thank you so much for watching. As I delved into the world of Mr. Dickens, I couldn't help but feel the festive spirit creeping in. I'm now kind of in the mood for, you know, Christmas music and maybe one of those classic Christmas films. Oh, I love it. If you like this or any of my other videos, please do that whole likey, subscribey thing, because it really does help me out. And of course, it lets YouTube know that we want to watch more Bronte content. I would like to take a moment to wish you all health, happiness and joy this holiday season. And as in A Christmas Carol, God bless us, everyone.
God bless us, everyone.
Merry Christmas, and I will see you all next Friday for more Bronte adventures. Take care.